1252 Sports Entertainment presents the one, the only, the One-Timer Hockey Show. Live with Andrew Faubert and Matt Bannon. So get your puck bunnies and give your balls a tug, because it's time to do that hockey. Let's do that hockey, baby.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the One-Timer Hockey Show here at the Whistle Sports Bar and Grill 159 Satellite Studio in Lisle, Illinois. Andrew, how are you doing tonight?
Not too bad, brother. Just another day up here in Canada. World Juniors are going. Canada's not doing so hot.
Yeah, what's going on with that one? I was able to catch some of it yesterday, but not quite the full thing. So you want to give us an update regarding Team Canada's Super PAC, I guess you could call it?
That is not, I don't know if we just got no defense or no goalie, but we definitely got the offense. Connor Bedard looks good. The offense as a whole looks amazing, but why did we lose 5-2 to the Czechs? That makes no sense. I don't like that at all.
I was hoping you could answer that one, but I guess it just goes to show, even though you're looking like, God on the ice out there, if somebody wants it, they will take it from you. So that's just something to look forward to, I guess. I mean, who are they playing next for their next game? I don't remember the schedule coming up here.
I have to double check that.
Actually, I'll pull that up too.
Yeah. I can't remember. They weren't playing today. I think today they had their pause or whatever you want to call it there.
Yes.
Tomorrow we got Germany.
Germany, that's who you're playing. Okay, very nice. Because I know the U.S. beat Latvia. I don't know if you watched any of it, but that Sweden game, oh, man, that was a hell of a game by the Swedes, and Austria just looked so confused the whole time. I think they forgot they were playing hockey. I think they're still World Cup kind of mindset or something, because they weren't doing anything.
I'm looking at the current score of the game right now too. They really don't know how to play hockey. It's currently 7-0 with 3 minutes still to go in the second period for the Czechs. Yeah,
they are not doing well. I don't know if it ended up this way, but after Sweden got their, I think, 6th goal, like that was as many shots that Austria had on net was the score of Sweden's team for at least the majority of the remainder of the game. It was crazy, which is something. I mean, I thought the Blackhawks were looking pretty bad, and our offense hasn't been good lately, but that is just heartbreak to a whole nother level. So I guess there's something to be happy for in that regards. It could always be worse, apparently.
I mean, the props to the Swiss. They're actually doing pretty good right now. Out of nowhere. It was the one team where I'm like, maybe I should just sprinkle some money on them to do good. I should have done it. Didn't do it. That's my mistake. But, I mean, also props to Germany. 1-0 against the very dominant Swedish team, too.
Yeah,
Sweden did beat them, but I mean, the fact that Germany did that good against them, like 44 shots on goal for that goalie, which I'm trying to find his name here. I'm going to get it because I want to know. There we go.
Yeah, it would be helpful if I knew any of their names, but I really only know the Canadian team.
It's one of the it was back in the day. So like Canada's obviously really big with the World Juniors and stuff like that. I wouldn't say it's been as big in the last couple years, but I think this team was supposed to bring it back on track, but I hear it's not looking like. Anyway, we played either Austria or Latvia or like Bulgaria whenever they came in there. It was one of those countries. And we won only 1-0. And that goalie on the other side had like 72 saves.
Oh, man.
And for the likes of me, I cannot remember. He did end up getting like scouted. Like everybody was like, who the fuck
Yeah, at that point, 70 shots in a game and you only let in one, that's really good.
Yeah, it was like 72 or anywhere between 72 and 76 total shots. And I was like, who the heck is this guy? Like, I will find the name again too. But it was one of those things where it's like everyone in Canada was just like, I want that goalie.
Yeah, him. He's good.
I want him on Toronto right now. It's like, yeah, of course you would want him on Toronto.
Yep. That's just how it would go.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, the World Juniors are still looking good. There's some good talent out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan. Did you hear about the story of the Toronto airport?
I did actually, yeah. Taylor showed me the other day. He's like, hey, did you see about this? Which is funny because every time there's like a story about somebody traveling, was it Air Canada? There's always a problem, it seems like. And it's just, how do you lose that much stuff and be that expensive stuff?
Yeah.
Like, that's not cheap either.
No. And that guy's a well-known player. That's the problem, guys. Like, what are we doing here at Toronto Pearson Airport? Like, I get it. We're Toronto. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Yeah, it's eventually going to catch up to you there, my friends. Like,
at some point, yeah, because like, great example with this one, they did it to the wrong person who has a significant following. So that's pretty obvious that's going to get out there, and that's just not good on any level.
No.
Can't escape that one anytime soon.
No, especially when the World Juniors are going on. Like, this is a very prolific thing around the world. Like, everybody knows what the World Juniors are. I know there's only, 8 nations technically that are represented.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it's the best out of all those nations, right? You know, Sweden, Finland, Switzerland this year. Canada and the States are usually, like, the big 5, and then it's a miracle on ice story if anybody else starts coming in.
Exactly, yeah. A somewhat revolving door of, I guess, other contenders as it turns out. But it's I mean, a really great way to test upcoming players that you have or prospect picks, whatever it happens to be. Because I know the Hawks have quite a few. Obviously, you mentioned Bedard, with everybody's eyes always on him this whole season, I guess. He's been doing spectacular. And now we get to see him in a more, I guess, international competitive stage. So everybody wants to see what people can do, especially if you're a European country like that. I mean, that's a pretty big stage with a lot of eyes on you. So to mess up something like that, that's funny. But yeah, that really sucks.
Or if you're the Seattle Kraken and you want to see what the Dylan Gauthier, Shane Wright, and Bedard line would eventually look like if it actually were to happen, but they're doing too good.
Yeah.
The Tankathon, like, I have to scroll down a little bit. Like, they're actually a good team. They're 18-10-4 right now. So
yeah, and that's something pretty crazy. Something I never thought I'd be saying, at least this soon, regarding Seattle, like an actual good team.
I didn't think that was coming up this quick either. That's for sure.
Yeah, because they've had such a rough go of it. I'm surprised that it even worked out. Maybe they clearly knew something that we didn't, or they're incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
Or with the Tankathon season, maybe unlucky that they start doing well. Not sure.
I mean, some of these other teams that are in the running for Bedard too, technically, like I even said, like San Jose would make sense. Like, put him on that coastline and, let him sit there for 15 years and everybody will go flood that stadium. Like, everybody knows that.
Yeah, really. That would just be a great marketing ploy. Even if you end up winning maybe only 8 more games this season, still works because he's going to be fun to watch.
Now, I'm going to state this, and I think everybody can agree. Let's not go to Philadelphia because him and Torts would ruin his development.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there was another story that just came out again. What was that involving him doing something stupid, which is surprising to nobody that knows of his reputation, at least. I was reading it. I'm like, that sounds about right. But, yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. It's looking pretty good for Chicago. We'll see if they can continue to do poorly. I know I mentioned it before we went live, that they were currently losing to Carolina, who is in, I think, 2nd overall, up there with Boston. or something. So I don't expect a miracle out of that one. So
yeah,
lose a game, win Bedard. Let's see. But they totally chose that route. So.
Yeah, I totally forgot Carolina's like up there. Boston is still the number one guy, and I just
So I know the Devils were looking really good at the beginning. Not that they're not looking good right now, but they're starting to slide a little bit, which, I mean, I wouldn't be necessarily worried about if I was a Devils fan. I'm not sure how you would feel about it. I feel like that's just, again, we're almost halfway through. This typically happens about this point, about the 1/3 halfway mark, that you kind of hit that plateau. You kind of figure out what was working, what isn't. And after, I feel like the Christmas, New Year's season, like then everybody comes back in with full force. And that's when you start watching, I guess, the patterns, if you will, the streaks, because that's, I feel, when they start making a difference. But looking,
especially with like teams like Edmonton. Edmonton's not even in the playoffs right now, so like Edmonton,
are they completely out? Ooh.
They would, if it were to start today, they would be out, and they would have the 14th best odds at Bedard.
Ooh,
yeah.
Don't want that. You're gonna have to make up your mind pretty soon. We either start completely losing or we go all in at it right now. But I don't know. If I were Edmonton, I think I would try to go for it. I don't think it's worth tanking at this point, because you're out of the money right now, but you're so far ahead of the last place teams. What is that? Columbus, Hawks, Arizona, and the Anaheim. Ducks. That you're just completely wasting everybody's time. I think they should be able to do better than they are. I think I got to see them play, but I don't know.
Not only that, like, I mean, if you're the Edmonton Oilers, and if you have Connor McDavid and you all of a sudden have a shot at Connor Bedard, there's something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, unless not happy.
Yeah, unless like there's been a lot of injuries or some kind of just horrendous luck, like you're always losing an OT or something. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, you're not doing anything right. But I don't know if it's a lack of caring or if they're hitting a slump. I'm not sure, because looking at the last 10 games that Edmonton's played, they're 4-4-2, which not that bad, I guess. More losses than wins, but I don't know. Kind of scary if you're an Oilers fan right now, I think.
Yeah,
I'd be more worried about that.
They signed their goalie to an extension, which I know a lot of my buddies are happy about because they're big Oiler guys and stuff like that. But they got to start winning a couple more games. They got to get a D-man there. They got to do something from what I've seen anyway. I got money on them to win tonight just because they're underdogs. And anytime they're playing Calgary, I'll take Edmonton versus Calgary almost every single time just because the money is a lot better. But I mean, in regards to, like, say, my Red Wings here, they're not doing too bad. We have the 15th best overall odds. We're just outside of the playoff hunt, technically by standings, because that would be give me 1 second. So if we go back to the East, that's the Metropolitan Division is just stacked right now. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Carolina 6. Devils and Pittsburgh, kind of running the show over there.
And then you still have the Rangers, the Capitals, and the Islanders, who all have more points technically than the Red Wings by 5. So
and I know for a bit there, the Rangers were kind of was when the Hawks managed to beat them on their home ice. They were kind of feeling the turbulence a lot there, and a lot of people were like, "This team should have been." Contending more than that they're on track to. I mean, again, I said at the beginning, I thought Kane was for sure going to go to the Rangers. Now I'm not so sure because, I mean, granted, again, only halfway. They have a wild card spot now, but it just doesn't seem like they wanted it for a while there. Granted, now they're on 8-2 in the last 10 games. They've got the number 1 wild card spot. So they kind of are figuring things out. But again, it's going to be, I think we're seeing a lot of teams that clearly want to win and a lot of teams that want to win next season or the season after that, hopefully. So it's really weird, polarizing kind of, I guess, play styles this year. But then the people in the middle, it's like, you got to choose one or the other. You got to be good or you got to be really bad. You can't be in the middle this year.
Yeah, you can't be one or the other.
Yeah, that's just...
It's like, can my Red Wings figure that out too? I know we got a lot of injuries. Like, I know we've got some major injuries, and a couple of those guys are back, and
but
at the same time too, like goaltending situation, we got one good one bad one. And like I said, I don't necessarily want to be in the playoffs. It'd be cool, obviously. I'm not going to get mad. Like, I want a shot at Bedard. I want to be able to see what happens in regards to the lottery draft. Like, if we were to get a talent like him, put it beside Raymond and stuff like that, you basically can call it a day. Like, Red Wings will have a cup in at least 10 years. May not be right away, but
I was going to say might be a little bit of a slow burn at first, but I feel like that would be pretty quick as the momentum got rolling. Because I know, like you'd said, there's a lot of injuries on the Red Wings. You guys really got the injury bug bad lately. So I feel like perfectly healthy team, you guys would be, I think, kind of similar to the Capitals standing right now, at least. But because you guys have had kind of turned out to be a tougher first half schedule too, and some disappointing losses along the way. But but I guess we'll see what they can do, I guess, going into the second half of it. Not, like you said, there's still potentially there, but you got to determine, can we win this? If yes, do we try to do it? And that's, I think, what a lot of teams are going to be asking themselves right now.
I like, if I'm the Red Wings, I got no problem trading a couple of these guys to either get a couple of picks for next year or this upcoming draft, just to kind of build it. Here's my talent. This is what we're dealing with, kind of thing. Like, bring up Casper next year. There's another Edvinson, bring up next year. And then at that point, whatever you get for the rookies in this draft, you bring those, say, 2 guys up the year after. That's your team. That at that point, like, Costa's got to be ready to go. Even though I just saw he got downgraded to Toledo. I don't think it's necessarily because of bad play. It's just, Red Wings are still going for it, and they got to make sure that they have room in the Griffins kind of things, just in case we got to bring down Hedberg is the name of the guy that we picked up, and he's popped in for a couple of games there too. So I get it. I get the business of it and stuff like that. I know all these Red Wing fans are like, we need to win now. It's like, listen, Holland left us a fucking mess. All right.
Yes.
And we're still technically paying for that mess. Okay. And we need to get that out of the way first. And then when we can call it a day with everything else, once, Sider finally picks it up, we figure out the Larkin contract, because I don't want to let him go. I have no problem letting Bertuzzi get traded at the deadline, though. That's just me. Still on board with that.
That's fair. Yeah.
You get a big ass package for Bertuzzi. Like, if Mantha was a first, a second, and 2 players, and Verana and Pysick, I think it was, or Pysick, and then he got
that sounds right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Then you can definitely go get another first and a second. You can go get another starting defenseman, and you can go probably get a prospect. Like, Bertuzzi is going to go to a team like, say, the Panthers, say, for example, because I know they got the Chuck and all that stuff.
Yep.
You go to a team like that has another player that plays like him but can also actually score. That's what's going to make Bertuzzi better. Yeah. And I know a lot of people in Red Wings are like, oh, you're going to start selling all of our meanness and stuff like that because we're getting pushed around. I ain't a fan of what happened on that game against Minnesota either. But I am a fan of our guys getting pushed around until eventually they also figure it the fuck out.
Exactly. You can't. I know we've talked about this before, and it's like, granted, it's getting a little softer, and with all that, love it or hate it, either way, but you got to stand up for yourself. Because at some point, you're going to have to figure it out. It is a full contact sport. I get that a lot. The world in general doesn't quite like that anymore, but I mean, it's still going to happen just because. Oh, well, I won't personally hit guys. It's like, cool. Now I know there was a comment. We can hit this guy because he puts himself in situations that he can't bail himself out because he doesn't want to. Like, that's just bad. I guess, playing for the sports side, and terrible for business, because then nobody's going to like you. Your own fans are going to turn against you. Like, you just get pushed around and that's it. Like, come on. Granted, not everybody can be intimidating or an enforcer or even a goon if you want. I mean, Patrick Kane, great example. Guy just doesn't fight. That's not his build. But he doesn't just let it happen.
No.
If you're not going to fight back, you got to be really good at scoring or really quick to just avoid it in general. And if you're neither, then what are you even doing? Like, you go somewhere else.
you might at that point be a Toronto Maple Leaf player making $8 million a year and who just can't go into the fucking corners. Nylander. But I got every Maple Leaf fan out there telling me he's the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. Nope, not even close. But you know what is the greatest thing since sliced bread? These quick commercials that we got coming up here.
Oh,
we got to pay the bills, ladies and gentlemen.
Somebody's got to.
We'll be right back here with some more here at I'm on too many platforms here. Give me a second. 1252 Sports for the One-Timer Hockey Show. We'll be right back after a couple quick commercial breaks.
Fuzzy football, are you ready, brother? Real football action on a glossy game surface played shuffle style. Slide a shuffle puck at pass or run targets, and a free mobile app keeps track of every game detail. Easy to learn, but this game of skill is difficult to master. Take care of the ball or turnovers will kill your drive. The game is guaranteed to get your competitive fire burning, and it's perfectly sized to take anywhere. The park, a barbecue, your next tailgate, or fun at home on game nights. Fuzzy football is simply the best, most realistic and competitive game of football available anywhere. Add defense when your skill improves and take the game to the next level. The perfect mix of fast action and real football drama, where a last-second Hail Mary can break hearts or make champions.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show, as well as the 1252 brand, because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend, or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Come in today for a fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
Stagecoach in Lockport has a unique menu from fresh salads and burgers to venison and steak sandwiches. We feature plenty of appetizers and desserts for a perfect way to start or end your meal. Come into our country western bar and dining room or relax outside on our patio sitting in the heart of downtown Lockport on State Street. We can accommodate both small gatherings and large parties. Offering 16 different beers on tap, frozen margaritas, an extensive bourbon and whiskey menu, and our famous Bloody Marys, you cannot go wrong at Stagecoach. And if you're feeling lucky, come try DJ Bingo on Tuesdays or our Big Pay slot machines all week. Stagecoach is located at 1028 South State Street in Lockport, Illinois. Everyone is a friend at Stagecoach. Hope to see y'all soon.
Welcome back, everybody, to the One-Timer Hockey Show here at the Whistler Sports Bar and Grill 159 Satellite Studio in Lisle. So, Andrew, during the break there, I thought it'd be kind of fun to, run through the lottery since that's, everybody's forefront of the mind again. Ran through it a few times and combined the average results. Let's just say, I hope this doesn't happen, but on average, I had everything go through. And it would be Arizona with the number one pick,
which
is what ended up happening almost every time. So,
wow.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. Granted, it still had everything else in mostly the same order where it would be. But, yeah, it really wants, for whatever reason, Arizona to win. And I hate that. Hope it doesn't. Now that I put it out there, I really hope it doesn't happen.
It's funny because I'm still simulating just enough out of mine right now just to see like where everybody goes and this, that, and everything else. Mm-hmm. The most that I'm actually getting almost by a landslide now is Chicago.
Really? Well,
yeah. Chicago and then the Ducks.
Yeah, which makes sense statistically. More likely it will assuming even if it didn't end today, if the rest of the season plays out how it looks like it is, it will most likely be those between us and the Ducks. But yeah, for whatever reason, it just really wants Arizona on mine. Don't know why.
The lowest team that I've seen jump up actually a couple of times is the St. Louis Blues with the 10th overall.
Oh, hell no. That definitely can't be.
Yeah, you of all people
would flip.
Yeah, you would be very unhappy.
Oh, yeah. At that point, hell, I'd rather Arizona got the damn thing.
And I was even going to say, kind of unbiased, though, you hate the Blues, so it might be hard for you.
Yes.
The Blues with Connor Bedard, you're basically throwing like a very young, talented kid into, say, the back end of a Stanley Cup winning team.
Yes.
That is dumb, like in a good way. Like for his development and stuff like that, he's got Braden Shen, Parayko, though he's got Jordan Bennington, and that might not be the greatest thing either.
Yeah, but actually that'd probably help more, honestly, having to deal with his ass. But
they got Tarasenko as well, I believe, right? That's the other guy that got there. They have a few of these guys who are like actual veterans. So he would be in a good place if he did end up falling down to St. Louis. But I agree with you too. There's a couple of destinations that just in preference, I do not want him to go. And it's St. Louis Blues already have their Stanley Cup. I don't need him to go there. Yeah. And judging by some of these other teams that have, like, we're just talking the teams that are currently out of the playoff contention. The one I think that he himself, Bedard, would probably absolutely want to be drafted to is Vancouver, because that's his hometown.
Yeah. So obviously there's a lot of, I guess you would say, emotional, familial support with that one too, which would be good. But again, I don't think that's always the best thing. In terms of long-term development, if you're not, granted, if he did end up on Vancouver, he would face challenges. But I think when it's softened the blow like that, like there's less to be learned, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah. Like
I feel like typically, especially with hockey players, more adversity is better in the long run. Because granted, if he went there, he'd have a stronger start, absolutely, no doubt. But I think he would not develop as quickly as anybody would like, honestly. So
it's a harder market as well. They don't have the proper management to deal with him. It'd be no different than the Oilers having Chiarelli and all those guys still in place when they drafted McDavid.
Yeah.
But they also, like, if you're not going to take the time to develop them properly and stuff like that, we're going to get somebody else in that's going to do it.
Exactly.
And now, this is just me.
All right, lay it on us.
Listen, I don't think you don't hate the Canucks necessarily, do you? I think you appreciated the rivalry that you guys had.
I did, yes.
Okay.
I did.
And they were my Canadian team. Like when I had to go for a Canadian team, they were mine until the Winnipeg Jets came back, and that's just, I have to go back to the Jets. It's just my love. I still appreciate the Canucks respectively. If Bedard goes there and they either wore the jerseys of the Sedin times where there was the stripe on that kind of like blue and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Hard to feel that one.
Yeah. I'd be okay with him on there. Or if they got Bedard the next day, I want to hear we're bringing the skate jersey back. Like we're bringing the black and the yellow, the Pavel Bure days.
Oh yeah. Okay.
If you draft Bedard the next day, I want to be like, we're doing a full rebranding and we're going back to the skate days. Like Pavel.
Yeah, that would be. Bure. Yeah, I just looked it up too because I'm like, I think it was essentially, I always called it the German ones because it's essentially the German flag, but that would be pretty cool. I mean, honestly, if they did, I think that's what you have to do. You have to cut it, start over again, essentially with that kind of stuff, just so you can leave the past or the current as it is in the past and then start something new because you're gonna literally what anybody does. Whoever gets Bedard will have to do essentially.
Well, not only that, like if it's Vancouver, he's the hometown kid, first of all, but you're gonna have that diehard fans of like 08 to 11 back bigger than you've ever had ever. And like your tickets are going to be sold out so fucking quick. Kraken tickets would be sold out so quick because of the rivalry right there.
Exactly.
Your Oilers ticket, because it's Pacific, right? So yeah, Oilers and Flames ticket would go up every time the Canucks would come to town now. Like a lot of stuff with if he goes to Vancouver. Plus, not only that, they talk about, McDavid's got Draisaitl and Kane had Taves and Malkin had Crosby. I say it like that. Fuck the other way around.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Thank you. It would be cool if he goes to Vancouver and it's just like Connor Bedard gets to play with Elias Pettersson. Shit,
that would be pretty fun to watch.
Bedard would be able to like go in, set up plays for Elias Pettersson, and probably even JT Miller on the other side just to be your sniper, which would be kind of cool. Yeah. And then eventually, Bedard would just do what he does and what McDavid does. He'd be like, yeah, all right, I'll just take it in myself.
Yeah, and then
we're not
you
scoring.
Figure it out. Yeah.
They don't have a Draisaitl. Like Pettersson is not Draisaitl. Draisaitl is a a way better version of Landeskog or Rantanen, like that one player on Colorado.
Yeah.
That's just all around, can do everything, can score, he can check, he can play defense a little bit if he absolutely had to.
If he needs to, push comes to shove. Because I feel like he's a bit more, not that it's the perfect word, but tanky in a way. Like it's harder to break him down physically or mentally. I feel like he can just handle a lot more stuff. So that would be perfect.
He's one of those players too, like Draisaitl. I've noticed that you can injure him. Like what they did in the playoffs is like the Flames went on his leg or whatever. He's still going to fucking play. Did you forget he can pass?
Yeah, right? Like, now he can't skate super fast. Yeah. He can still do everything else. We forgot that. Damn.
His job tonight is to, pass the puck to McDavid. We forgot.
He's already good at that. Why didn't we think this through? Yeah.
So Bedard going to somewhere like Vancouver, like Patterson's not that player, but eventually I think they would find somebody like that, which would be kind of cool. Like if they went and traded for like a Todd Bertuzzi, kind of give him like an all-around player on the same line with him who can kind of do everything. May not be as good as the other guys we've named, but they actually they do have a guy kind of already in-house, but he is very, very B-rated, and that'd be Hoglander. Hoglander can do all that, and I like Hoglander. He's a good player, but he is definitely not like a Rantanen and all those guys, but if you needed someone for a few games to give Bedard that type of skill set, you have it on the team. So.
Or something to, I guess, not necessarily emulate, but to pick up on some of his quirks or play style, if you will. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a pretty good direction to look. If you had to say, now since we're on this topic and going down the rabbit hole, which team do you think would be the best for him in the long term? Because I know, obviously, you could be the greatest player ever, but if they don't support you, work with you, or develop correctly, you become a bust, even though it's not really your fault because everybody else around you screwed you. What do you think would be the best team for him personally to go to? Where do you think he'd have the most success?
Now, are we just saying out of the 16 teams that currently have
out of the 16? Yeah.
Okay. St. Louis. No. Because I'm looking at this list and I'm like, there's not too many that pop up, but I guess the three that pop off the list and to go in order, say 3, 2, 1, I'd probably go Columbus third, San Jose second. And to be honest, this sounds weird because they're currently sitting with the 12th overall odds is Nashville. Nashville, they have Saros, they have Askarov, they had another guy too, Ingram or something like that. They had a lot of goalies. And yet Rene could have been traded. Rene could not have been extended that time that he was, and he could have went and had an opportunity on a different team. But they kept him in-house and they paid him and they were like, no, we want to win with you. Yeah. And they made it work. They based all their contracts off that because they know Nashville at first wasn't a huge selling point.
Yeah,
so they had to become say the St. Louis Cardinals of baseball, the Detroit Red Wings of hockey, where you got to develop a lot of stuff in-house and you got to make them love it in-house. So when they do get traded somewhere else, they're like, hey man, Nashville ain't actually that bad. Yeah. You get a chance to go there.
Do a lot of that marketing overhaul, the business side of it first before you can jump in, because otherwise you're just going to flop like a specific team in a desert right now.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, they've done good for their players. They've given out good contracts. Like, I mean, look at the Duchesne contract, I think it was. And Ardvinson, I think, was the other one. And there's a couple other ones that I'm forgetting. They are very gracious with their cap space because they like to keep the talent in-house.
Yeah, I was going to say they're definitely like that, taking that more old school approach where it's like, all right, once you're with us, you are with us, unless like it's not working at all.
Yep.
Something out of our control happens, like cap hits or the draft comes in, or the expansion draft, comes in. Like they like that, I guess, familial like camaraderie, if you will. I could see that. That would definitely be a boon to anybody. Granted, it doesn't always work in their favor, but I feel like they tend to get the short end of the stick a lot. Because they were a while there, they were making the playoffs consistently, not going deep, but they had something there. That was pretty much the end of my thought with that one.
And it's true, because they're like the San Jose Sharks. They're like the Columbus Blue Jackets, even like the Minnesota Wild, even though we couldn't include them just because they're not in the top 16.
Yeah, because they're not there,
Carolina kind of as well. They've always just put that team together where they're like, we're going to base it off in-house stuff. Minnesota's a lot easier because they're the state of hockey, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, or whatever they're calling themselves now.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like San Jose's done the same thing, like, when you have Joe Thornton and Brett Burns and Patrick Marleau and Pavelski and all those guys that you can have for like 10 to 12 years and set that stuff up, you become known as an organization that does want to pay your players.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't anything bad with the Marleau and the Thornton thing. I think it was just that organization realized, like, if we do give you guys 3 other years, all we're going to get is playoffs and first round exits. Like, you guys, like, no offense, you guys don't have anything left in the tank.
Like, that's just, unfortunately, of course, how it goes as, injuries pile up, players get older, the game changes, because it changed a lot in the last decade, even looking back at it now, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, it just happens that sometimes it just doesn't work anymore. It's like, what is it? It's like a Honda Civic, really, if you will. It'll keep going, even though it's starting to fall apart, but it's not going to go very fast or, very far quickly. It'll keep going the same amount every time, but that's about it. So I understand that. But that, again, for ideally developing a player like that, that is something that would benefit greatly, because you get, I guess, that not really a habit or a routine, but just that consistency, if you will, that you always have that to fall back on, even if it doesn't, necessarily look like it's paying off quickly at first.
And I mean, so Nashville's got a Stanley Cup final out of it. San Jose's got a Stanley Cup final out of it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, both of them lost to the Penguins, right?
They did, yes.
Yeah, so they both have something in common there as well.
Yep.
The Blue Jackets got close. Like, you gotta get, like, when they actually swept that very dominant Tampa Bay Lightning squad, it was
amazing.
Like, this team might be able to do something here. So, like, they've been.
Unfortunately, they didn't, but that would have been quite the story. Yeah.
Who they got? They got stopped in the second round by some. Was it Pittsburgh? I think too, right?
I think it was Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Fuck the Penguins, man.
Of course it was. Yeah. I mean, it was. And again, this was 10 years ago, but it was. We were always talking about how that Metropolitan and in general the Eastern Conference. Really lackluster for a while there. It was only the Penguins, and of course the Lightning were there, and the Capitals consistently getting in and then just doing nothing with it. And it's really boring to watch those games for a few years there, because they just weren't doing anything. But now looking at the board, I mean, they're really just kind of on top of everything now, which is funny. That long burn strategy, I guess you could say, is paying off now, but be interesting to see if they'll be able to keep it up, I think, especially with this year.
Like the Islanders and stuff like that too.
Yeah. Kind of influx.
I don't mind the Islanders, man. I don't mind the Islanders.
But when you say it like that, though, it kind of seems like there's still a little nagging in your head.
The only thing that nags at me is the fact is, like, why the fuck did you? I can't remember who the hell that guy's name is. I watched a documentary. Like, why did you entrust that GM for so long?
I don't
know. He gave you the Rick DiPietro contract and you extended him. What the fuck were you thinking?
Clearly had some kind of blackmail involved that they're like, oh, we got it's this or we lose everything. So I guess we'll just lose a little bit more in the meantime.
Like, no wonder nobody wants to give you a fucking stadium. Like,
yeah.
Fuck. But we do have a quick moment to take. We got more bills to pay. I couldn't find a good transition into that because I was like, I'm looking at all of our sponsors and I'm like, no good transition into that. Sorry, I had to try it anyway. We'll be right back in about 4 minutes time. We got a couple more commercials to get through here. And we'll be right back to talk a little bit more about Connor Bedard and where he's going. And the high chances that he probably goes there. The very low chances he goes to my team. So we'll be right back.
Megaplex Sports Complex is a 78,000 square foot center filled with hardwood and turf. They have baseball rentals with batting cages, softball, soccer, lacrosse, gymnastics, cheerleading, cornhole, basketball, volleyball, and pickleball. It also features a bar and grill with the best pizza and beef sandwiches around. They cater to events such as birthdays, graduations, corporate parties, as well as memorabilia shows. Check them out at Megaplex Sports Complex, 15301 South Bell Road in Homer Glen, 708-966-4210.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
Hi, this is Kathy O'Connell at Coach's Corner, located at 8118 West 143rd Street in Orland Park. Our phone number is 708-364-1026. We are Orland Park's #1 sports bar. Come in for our wonderful beer menu and seltzers with a fully stocked bar. Watch a game, drink a beer, and try something off our amazing menu. We have everything to choose from: nachos, potato skins, and our house-made bar chips to start off with. Then try our tacos, burgers, and one of our delicious sandwiches. And don't leave without trying our famous jumbo wings. They do not disappoint. Coach's Corner. It will sure to become your local bar. Again, we are located at 8118 West 143rd Street in Orland Park. Come see us today.
Hey, this is your girl Ruby from Habano Cigars in Homer Glen, Illinois. We are the best cigar lounge around. From Davidoff exclusives to anything Plasencias, from rare Opus X's and everything in between. We literally have it all. And if it's not here, we'll get it for you. Here at Habano Cigar Lounge, we host amazing and exceptional events on the last Thursday of every month. That includes free food, raffles, prizes, and giveaways. We're open from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 11, and on Sunday, 10 to 10 p.m. Again, we are located at 133 West 143rd in Homer Glen, Illinois, so drop by and give us a call today, 708-590-6473. Habano Cigars, Homer Glen. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
Welcome back to the One Timer Hockey Show here at the Whistle Sports Bar and Grill, 159 Satellite Studio in Lisle, Illinois. Andrew and I talking about Bedard's future, very likely where he's going to end up, what's the best for him, what we think. I know I saw just as we were going to commercials there, it was a comment from Thomas Schweiss, screw the Islanders. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I think most people generally feel that way. With well, like you said, it's a little bit there. You're like, I don't mind them, but it's still the Islanders.
I would take them over half of the league. That's for sure.
That's true, and that's like I guess the most ironic part is like even saying it, you're like, yeah, screw them, but they're not, Blues, the Boston, the Pens, like all of them. But
here's a good I guess a good game for you. We were just talking about the Islanders. Okay, so we'll do this game. So would you be more of a fan? Like who would you like more, the Islanders or the Blue Jackets?
Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna say the Blue Jackets. Mostly because that's where Brennan Saad and Panarin ended up for a while.
Okay,
there.
that's
entirely why. If they didn't go there, then it would be the Islanders.
So then let's go with something like let's go with the Columbus Blue Jackets or the San Jose Sharks.
San Jose Sharks.
Okay.
And this is because my old next door neighbors, their cousin is Scott Reedy. So yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so I definitely would support them. And I in general don't really have anything against San Jose. I kind of root for them, honestly. Yeah. I would love to see them succeed. Especially with Scott Reedy being on there. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so would you take the Sharks or the Wild?
Sharks.
The Sharks. Okay, so we're going the opposite way. Okay, so let's go with something like the Sharks or the Maple Leafs.
After long consideration, I think I'd stay with the Sharks.
Okay. The Sharks or the Red Wings.
Ooh. See, I would probably say Red Wings just because of how much fun it is to, I guess, root against and compete with Detroit, if that makes any sense. Like the old 100%. Rivalry is hilarious. I mean, when I'm at the games, I still chant Detroit sucks. And that normally gets a chuckle out of a lot of the people that are, a bit older.
Yes.
Or just have like older family members. Because like, oh yeah, I get it's always the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, this guy knows. So I would say Detroit though.
So okay, so gross, would you do would you take Detroit or the Sabres?
I'm not sure. I think I would have to stick with Detroit. Again, because that nostalgia, you just want to hear me say that is really odd.
Well, no, if I wanted to hear you say that, I'd be like, so Detroit or St. Louis, my friend?
Yeah, like,
Detroit again. That's a lot of times you've just said Detroit.
Strange, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So I think it would still be Detroit, though, over the Sabres, just because, honestly, there's nothing really there. I mean, they were never, at least as of recently, they were never like a giant powerhouse. They were supposed to be, and they kind of blew it. So it's just, they're there. I'll give you that. But when I think of like teams, they're still at the forefront of my mind, even though they're not doing terrible this year relative.
That's fair. And I was also going to say, in all fairness, I think you'd only have to pick, like, I'm just looking at the list right now, probably 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. I'm starting to really hate those guys too. And there'd only be 4 teams that I would say that I hate more than the Blackhawks personally.
Yeah.
That's just because when the Blackhawks were good, that's way before I met you and stuff like that. I knew a lot of Blackhawk fans. And they're like,
oh yeah, I bet.
We're better than the Red Wings. I'm like,
yeah, it's weird how the bandwagon seems a lot more emptier this year.
Yeah. Like, oh, where are you guys at now? Not on my timelines.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, my Red Wings have a big old defenseman, couple scores. Steve Y actually decided to come back home. And all of a sudden, you guys should you all be quiet now. What the fuck?
Left over and mysteriously silent and absent. Huh. Strange how that works.
I would only pick the Blackhawks over Boston, 100%.
Yeah.
I would pick the Blackhawks over Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
I would pick the Blackhawks over the Ducks. And just because of recency bias, I guess you would say, it's not even just because it's a Slavkovsky hit. I'm getting really sick and tired of losing like 9 to whatever every single time we fucking play this team. But I would pick the Blackhawks over the Canadians right now. I'm getting tired of
It's starting to get into you. You're
I'm
like,
getting
these bastards.
I'm getting mad at these guys. And then everything else, I would Tampa is close though. Like my say hatred or whatever you want to call it for Tampa is only because of the Cronwall hit of Game 6.
Yes.
That was the first year we played. Like Mrazek was there, Zetterberg was still there, Datsuk was still there, all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, we're just going to take Cronwall. We're going to suspend him 1 game because he did what he's done for his whole fucking career. There's people in the stands with signs that says Cronwall hit and everything like that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's absolutely illegal in Game 6 when he fucking does it. It was to Stamkos, I think it was too.
Yeah, it was to Stamkos.
Annihilate Stamkos, and then all of a sudden, nope, it's illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal because Stamkos put himself in a bad position, paid the price for it, and then Tampa cried to the Zebras.
Yep. And
that's why I don't. Yeah, I don't. No offense to any Tampa Lightning fans out there, I just don't respect that team. I just can't do it. And then, like, especially with their bubble win, get the hell out of here with that nonsense. No.
I respect them, like, respectively now, I guess you would say, because of the legacy and stuff like that. But I still hate some of the guys on their team. Like, Stamkos deserves his respect, and Hedman is still a beaut, and they will always get their respect. Fuck that team.
Yep, I agree. I mean, I still think, thinking back of when Bishop was the goaltender for the Lightning for all those years, I respected that. Although that play he made, what was that, Game 3 or whatever in 2015 when he just collided with I don't remember who it was. Then Sharp like looks back and just scores like I don't know what that was, but okay. Like that was probably like, what did he do? And then learning that throughout most of his career he played with like an actual groin injury and he still kept going is like, damn, that's impressive. Because he knew if he got out, that team was screwed. Like they could play defense, but they were very iffy on when they wanted to play defense. Yes.
I preferred the Tampa Bay Lightning back in the day when they had that first cup run with the Brad Richards, the Martin St. Louis, the Dave Andrewchucks, and the Nikolai Abibolin. I liked that squad. That was a fun squad to watch because it's like they did. There's a couple other players that I am missing, like with any chance, but those are like your main 4. Or Vincent Lecavalier, that's the other one. When they played the Flames had Iginla and Kiprusoff.
Oh yeah,
that's it. That's really it. Like they had, I think Giordano was still technically there. I think he was young and stuff like that. But like in the retrospect, it was Tampa Bay Lightning that year, and that was like I love their jerseys. I love the black, white, and the silver. That was cool.
They look good. It makes me mad, but they always look good in those damn sweaters. So
it's like
I'll give them that
because they had. I think at one point it looked mountain-esque, and it kind of looked like the Utah Jazz made a hockey jersey.
A little bit, which is funny because they're in Florida. I'm pretty sure Tampa's slightly under or over, like they hover around sea level too, which is even funnier. They're like, the water's about here. So it's like, we're rugged mountain men. You're like, you guys are kind of outside a swamp on the Gulf. What are you talking about?
Like this question that just came in. Which player would you like to see traded to your team? Ooh, traded to my team. Well, let's start with you first because you're a Blackhawks fan. So you're probably like, well, we're trading players, but
yeah, we are definitely looking at that. I would still, this will never happen. But I still would love for Panarin to come back. And if we can't send Kane to the Rangers, I would love to take Panarin from them just so they could at least play one more time together. Honestly, if that happened, I think the team would be switched into win mode, which again, it's a little too late for that. So it's not going to happen, but I would love to see Artemi come back and play for the Hawks. That would be a dream, really.
Okay.
But that's definitely at the top of the list.
I don't know. There's a couple, like, I really wanted Spencer Knight up until we got Kosa. Now I'm like, fuck it, we got Kosa. I don't care.
Yeah. So
yeah. So like me personally, I mean, obviously it would never happen. Like a Makar or something like that would be awesome. But if we're talking, if we're talking like just realistically though, before he starts going off, I would really like the Red Wings to trade for Owen Power from the Buffalo Sabres and have him and Mort Seider left and right, 2 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" type bodies that can actually like move the puck as well.
Yeah.
Both on the same line. It would take a lot to get him in there now.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely a hefty price, but
yep. You thought the Panarin price was high. Woo! First overall defenseman from in Buffalo is not going to be an easy accomplishment either. But yeah, I would like Owen Power. I think that eventually after his development, he can become a Hedman type. He can become an all-around type defenseman that is just good at everything. Doesn't necessarily is elite at everything or at one thing. Is just really great at everything. So, yeah.
Good overall on everything. Speaking of defensemen, that made me think of it because we need it. And although we have Seth Jones for another 6 rock solid years, I think, granted, this would probably take a lot and is more on the realm of fantasy. I think, honestly, the team would benefit from getting Nurse from the Oilers because we'll put it this way. He's like Seth Jones, except better because he actually plays defense. He's better at attacking the net, and he actually hits people. So I think that would be a good one. I don't know how we would make him line up with the pairings, but I think that's something in spirit the team lacks, the Blackhawks specifically. They just don't have that tenacity, if you will.
Because I was
see what I'm saying?
I do, because I'm like, now I wanted to say something where I can clip it for my Oiler fans out here and be like, what do you guys think of this? Because I have a lot of Oiler fans who do not like Nurse right now.
Yes, I get that absolutely, but
yeah, and you're like, yep, totally hear you. That's why, hey, we're calling you.
That's why I said this is potentially something that could happen. Probably not, but it's something our team lacks, like a lot.
It would be because a lot of Oiler fans have been talking about packages for Patrick Kane, but it's like they're like, we can't be giving up our defense to get more.
I was going to say that would be the devil's deal right there. You can have Kane, but we'll take your D-man, and you're like,
it'd be like, we want Nurse, Bouchard from your minors, and possibly your first round pick, not this year, but next year.
But next year,
anyway.
Honestly, I'd be pretty happy with that trade. I think that's a good moving forward move.
I know a lot of Oiler fans that would be happy with that too, but I know a lot of Oiler fans would be like, "Who the fuck is moving the puck?
Doing? Yeah,
who's moving the puck? Oh, I'm sorry. Did Clefbaum all of a sudden just get healthy again? Did Clefbaum's leg just reattach itself and he just come back and play? Like, what the fuck happened? Someone want to inform the Oiler fans what just happened? Like, Seabrook all of a sudden is just the answer again? Like, comes back out of retirement? Or Duncan Keith?
Just walked back.
Duncan Keith, that's the guy. Yeah, Duncan Keith. He's like, you know what? No, I don't need to retire, guys. I'm going to come back.
Yeah, Keith. See, there we go. I'm wearing him, so he'll come back healthy to the Oilers. He'll retroactively take the pay back that we had to pay into the cap space. So, yeah, that would be just a disaster right there if he unretired to the Oilers.
I think, if anything, the Oilers would probably turn around and be like, we'll give you Nurse Holloway. Okay. I'll give you this year's first. I'll give you this year's first, next year's first, and this year's first, and next year's first, second. I give you Dylan McLeod.
Okay.
Or Ryan McLeod, or whatever his name is.
No, McLeod, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you McLeod. And I'll give you... There's another minor player. I can never remember his name. Actually, no. I'll give you Bouchard. I'll put Bouchard, Evan Bouchard in there, right-handed defenseman, slap shotter.
Yeah.
I want all of that, you send me Seth Jones and Patrick Kane. Do you say yes?
I would say yes. I think we would end up retaining a lot of salary, especially for Seth Jones. That would be great if you could take Seth Jones and the salary cap. That'd be wonderful. But honestly, yeah, I think that would probably be the best. I mean, I'd hate to see Kane, and this extends to Taves as well, not retire having played their entire career for the Blackhawks, but that would just be too good of a deal. We would need to take that. We desperately need that guy.
I'm sorry, how many first-round picks are you giving me?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, done. Yeah. Because it's like, granted, everybody's talking about Bedard, as we have for a while too, but a lot of people like Fantilli, Carlson, Mikov, like pretty much it. Even so, depending on who gets what pick this upcoming draft, I highly doubt there's any going to be, any Shane nonsense where he gets skipped. Everybody is going to go in order. I highly doubt, because I mean, everybody that's like looking at them, like it's Bedard, Fantilli are centers, Carlson center/wing, and then Mikov and Smith the top five. They are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, regardless of the order. So if we got that trade, and even if we didn't get number one pick, if we're highly likely to get within the top 3, that would be phenomenal. Because regardless, it's going to be, I mean, this is a really good draft year. And I know next year is looking not as great, but just as, essentially game changing.
Yeah, like this one's very top heavy. And then we start getting to say like the third tier around the start of the second round, I guess you would say.
The second or so.
Whereas next year's draft is like first round talent up until the end of the second round.
Which is really nice. So if we could, honestly, if you could, I don't know who that knows anybody on the Oilers, if you could convey that information, I'm certainly willing to negotiate on that one.
I'm literally gonna message my guys right after we're done this show here in a minute and tell them that trade. They're gonna be like, no, you send us more. I want Jonathan Toews too, and you take his whole cap. I'm like, hey, settle down.
Yeah, I would too. I would still accept that, because at that point your lines are going to be so on top of each other you can't do anything with them anyway. So yeah, I'll happily accept that too.
Last question before we get out of here tonight. Early predictions for Stanley Cup winner this year. Who do you got for the Stanley Cup winner?
All right. So I had originally, I think I had said, who did I say? Carolina. And the Avs would meet in the finals, with, I think, the Avs winning. I have changed my, I guess, thought on that one. I think Carolina will end up winning it. I don't think the Avs are going to go as deep as they want to. I know they're getting hurt a little bit, and again, I mentioned this at the end of last year, they're not going to be able to keep everybody, which is what happened. I think they're going to end up playing the Jets. I think it's going to be the Canes and Jets, and I think the Canes are going to win. Bold prediction.
That is a bold prediction. I currently right now would have the Maple Leafs coming out of the East.
Okay.
And I got them playing the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Vegas Golden Knights coming out on top.
Winning their first cup in was it the first 4 years of their existence? Yep.
And because my fiance is a diehard Golden Knight fan, I would end up with the greatest drunken seggy time of all time, baby. Let's go Golden Knights.
Well, you know what? I can't argue with that logic, and I hope you're more accurate than I am. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the One Timer Hockey Show for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us here. I've been Matt Bannon, joined by Andrew Faubert. I had a great time. I thought that was pretty fun. I definitely learned
when we get together, buddy.
Yeah. But all right, until next time, and that will be the new year. So everybody have a fun and safe holiday. Drink one for me, that's for sure.
Happy New Year's, everybody, and we'll see you next year.
.52 Sports Entertainment presents the one, the only, the One Timer Hockey Show, live with Andrew Faubert and Matt Bannon. So get your puck bunnies and give your balls a tug, because it's time to do that hockey. Let's do that hockey, baby.